I hope you're all doing well. I've got 3 things in store for us today. The first thing is some snack-sized wisdom to give you a little bit of enlightenment into the energies of today and what it's guiding us to become aware of. I also talk about the sounds of the universe. This is literally my life in a nutshell, the sounds of the universe. When I do a journey, I journey into anything based upon vibration. And through vibration, I'm able to see whole spaces, consciousness, communication of any interdimensional vibration, the darkest to the lightest. It's all sound. You yourself are full of sounds. So if you're to identify something that makes you feel vulnerable and just see it as a sound, you're able to have more of a conscious understanding and a conscious control over that. What sounds do you want playing in your energy field, and what sounds do you not want playing in your energy field? Can you harmonize sounds of disharmony? Yes. Can you put sounds to sleep, like chaotic sounds? Yes, you can. Can you amplify the sound of what makes you amazing? Yes, you can. All it depends on is wanting to be consciously self-aware, and then to have fun with your imagination and interacting with the sounds of you and the amazing places that those sounds will take you. But I talk about sound, okay? And then I also talk about the enlightenment journey, because as it is wonderful and exciting, it's also difficult. And one of the most peculiar parts about it is the circulation, the enlightenment journey as a process of, you could say, leaving oneself to explore what is beyond oneself, only to return to oneself. And what makes it so vulnerable, an enlightenment journey is exciting, but it is vulnerable. So I talk a little bit about that too. If you're not subscribed, I welcome you to subscribe, like the video, share the video, hit the notification bell. I want to thank everybody who's been a part of this journey with me, whether you've just recently subscribed or you've been around for a few years. Thank you so much. Shall we find out what the wisdom is for today? Here we go. 2/8/2023, this is the wisdom. Has to do with these 3 words: fantasy, mirror, and be yourself. What this is about is looking into the future at your vision of a perfect self, your vision of a perfect life. When you alter the mirror and you bring that vision into yourself, so you let it surround you on all sides, and then you become part of that, there's something odd that happens. There is a realization that this isn't really you. You're going to hunger for being yourself more than you know. And it's also encouraging you to see the life that you exist in right now, present day. Really embrace the way things are. It's more you than you know. I'm going to talk to you guys about sound in the universe. This is important. Imagine yourself not as a human being, but as a pond. And the pond ripples. How many layers of rippling do you have going on in there? Your heart's beating without you even thinking about it. It's already rippling. So your body creates sound waves. Your bones, your muscles, your blood, your heart, your lungs, your brain. Everything that you physically are creates sound. Everything that you mentally and emotionally are creates sound. Your chakras create sound. Your chakras are infinite universes. They aren't flat spaces. They're in front, behind, above, below. They're the whole universe. You are the size of the whole universe. You are as small as a pinpoint and even smaller than that. All things are sound. You could ask, what is a silent space in the infinite universe? A silent space is where you go to rest your soul. So when your soul needs time to not exist, which isn't conceivably possible, but that's the closest thing to a soul not existing, is when it withdraws and becomes as soundless as it possibly can be, and basically goes into a sleep state in eternity. So at what time did it go to sleep, and at what time does it wake up? Does it ever wake up? In the infinite universe, I could still find a sleeping soul. How is that possible? We are all guided by sound. We are all guided by our connection with each other. No matter how you try to silence all that you are, there will still be ripples. There will still be sound. But the more that you silence those sounds, let's say the sound of a memory from your past, You wake up in the middle of the night to it. You find yourself screaming in your head about it. If you were to turn off the sounds of that memory, you will give yourself relief. You don't have to hold on to the memory anymore. It still exists in all time. It's not going anywhere. But it will give you comfort when you silence that sound. It's like screaming in your head, even when you don't mean for it to. That's why we think about things from the past that we feel we've moved on from, because time is all over the place. Time is everywhere. The past and the future are all part of the nucleus of ourself. It's interesting because the future exists already in many forms of itself. So the future is also sound that is guiding us forward. And what version of a future do you want to exist in? It's like 2/8/2023 is telling us you can conceive of the nicest future. We all want to live in the best future. Might not be the most appropriate future for all of our sounds. For the meaning of all we must reconcile, all we must learn, and how we are going to grow. But there are wise aspects of ourself in many different versions of the future that are guiding us towards those wisdoms. And whether we step into identically that future version or that future path, which somewhere we are identically stepping into it, we will be a conceivable part of the future, a very specific part of the future. We already exist in the future. Which future? See how much sound there is in an infinite universe? I want to talk about this. I want to open your guys' mind to what is sound? How does sound exist? When I do a journey, I go into the energy world and I'm translating sound. My soul is infinitely connected to everything. My guides are a part of myself and my life. My higher self is a part of me and my life. The darkest to the lightest souls in an infinite universe are a part of me and my life, as they are a part of you, as they are part of everybody. This planet is a part of us. All the animals and all of the plants are a part of us. The sun, Jupiter, Saturn, the planets, and the galaxy, the whole universe is a part of us on the inside and externally. There's this very interesting mirror that is taking place here. You are in control of those sounds, by the way. Don't let the sounds control you. You are in control of the sounds. If the sounds are running wild, why? Why are you letting them run wild? So you can find a sound inside yourself. You should try. If something isn't right, you're going to know it. So you bring a conscious awareness to it. And you look inside the pond of yourself, because you literally are a pond that's constantly has so many layers of rippling going on. That's how you're connected to your past and your future lifetimes, your simultaneous lifetimes, everything you've ever been and ever will be, and all the timelines of eternity that you have ascended to come to your glorious, most incredible version of your higher self, which is so many selves. But right now we're talking about being human and looking inside yourself. Now I want you to identify something that's off in there. It's nice when we can nurture those disharmonies, turn them into harmony, but it's also good to listen to what is right in there as well. So we could do both. So right now we'll start with something that's off, because we seem to hear those sounds more often. And maybe it's an ache in your back. Maybe it's having a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. Maybe it's just straight up stress. Maybe you're plagued with post-traumatic stress. Maybe it's depression. It could be a vast sound that covers a lot of your lifetime, or it could be a blip, as something that's just recently come up. It doesn't matter what the length or the span or the depth of that sound is. It's just that you identify it. So you're paying attention. You're not unconsciously living, you're consciously living. You're paying attention. Once you identify that sound, you're not identifying it as what you think it is about. You're just noticing it, like you're a bucket with a lot of information on the inside that's rippling everywhere, and you're just going to touch one of those ripples, one of the things that you notice. Let's say it is an achy back. You remember what it feels like. You know what it feels like right now. But you take that achy back and you just make it look like a ripple in the water. And then you just touch it with your finger, like in your imagination. That's how we translate the sounds of the universe, is through our imagination. It's an active dream state, but it's not a dream at all. It's how we interact with the entire universe. Spirits, dimensions, time, ourself, our physical body, present day, and anywhere and anything that you would ever want to connect with, you do it through this method. So, the ache in your back is literally just a ripple in the pond of your imagination. That's it. Now, you just touch that ripple, literally. Your imagination sees a ripple in a pond, and this is my achy back. I don't have to understand if this ripple is exactly connected to that achy back, etc. I'm just going to touch this ripple that I have identified as my achy back, and I'm going to say, you don't have to ache anymore. And see what comes up. There might be more ripples in the pond that want to tell you some other things. Or it just might feel like that sound is falling asleep. That you don't need it anymore. You don't need the achy back anymore. Now, what's a sound that is good? Something you're proud of yourself for. A memory from your childhood, or your teenage years, or from yesterday. Maybe you cooked the best dinner you've cooked in years. And maybe you haven't gotten out of the house for a while and you finally took a drive. I don't know what it's going to be. It could be simple. It could be expansive. Maybe you've done a lot over the years to really help people. Maybe you're an awesome teacher, or awesome daycare person. You know, like there's amazing people. Like you're an amazing person. You need to acknowledge that about yourself. You need to say, I'm an amazing person. And let's look at that ripple and let's acknowledge it. Let's bring a conscious awareness to it. We're waking up these days. We're becoming more consciously aware, and we're choosing to participate in our conscious awareness. And so we see that ripple of I'm an amazing person, or I am so proud of myself, or I did a really good job, or I'm a really good artist, or whatever. These are precious things about you. What makes you glow and what makes you amazing in this world. And so you touch that ripple. It's not about creating more harmony with it or disharmony or making it disappear. It's just acknowledging it and receiving love from yourself. Love and acknowledgement from yourself. See how we are connected to all these sounds and how we can be in control of the sounds too. How we can appreciate the sounds, how we can alter the sounds. Silence is merely a space where you are in a digestion of everything. So if I want to go to source and I want to experience silence, I'm like a sponge absorbing. But I'm already full. So when I'm at source, I'm already full, but yet I'm also a sponge absorbing simultaneously. And how that impacts me as a human being, I find when I go into silent times or I'm connected with source, I feel like I withdraw from my human responsibilities. I feel bliss. I feel joy, but I feel like I can't have an action in day-to-day life. The laundry piles up, the dishes pile up. I just don't feel like doing anything. I just feel like being in this bliss state. But you have to leave that bliss state to be human. Because being human is a constant balance between creative life forces and destructive death forces. And we have to be constantly on the teeter-totter of being as best in balance with these energies as we can be. And sometimes you have to be more creative, but sometimes you have to be more destructive. And it's not as if we are just being destructive out of some kind of joy of breaking people down, but sometimes breaking people down is simply saying, no, I don't want anything to do with this. But that's actually the creative energies also at play. So we're always in the balance between these two when we're human, and we need to be always participating in our human lives. I hope this message gives you something to think about. So there's one final thing. I wanted to tell you guys this shocking realization about an enlightenment journey. Once you've overcome so many unexpected fears about time, about your soul. Oh man, I have experienced so many unexpected fears. It's terrifying when you realize that déjà vu is you having lived this lifetime before. It's terrifying to interact with future versions of yourself from other timelines of Earth and to see what they've endured, what you might endure. It's terrifying to realize that you're just one person and you can't save the world no matter how much you know or become aware of. That people will be ready to wake up to their consciousness, wake up to their bodies, wake up to their hands, wake up to themselves, and the importance of them being blatantly themselves and their best self. If we all wake up to being our best self and not fall into the rut of those sounds of disharmony that we aren't consciously choosing to look at and to touch and to resolve, to work on, to aspire to grow beyond those things, we're constantly a human race that can't get out of a cesspool of sounds, and yes, we can get out of them. There's a lot of awakenings that happen that are very hard to swallow. You start to realize that it's okay. If I live this lifetime 1 billion times, my human self is more finite and incapable of tolerating that reality. And my soul is not. My soul is so ridiculously infinite. This is to give you a perspective on how ridiculously enormous, how infinite, and how timeless, and how infinitely timeless, how infinitely larger and infinitely smaller the universe is. And where do we little old human beings exist in an infinitely smaller and infinitely larger truth? We're just a blink of an eye that keeps blinking. And this concept that people want to get out of the matrix is a bit ridiculous, because you can't get out. You can only embrace, because this is the heart. You're trying to get out of your life? You're trying to run away? You're trying to escape what? You must embrace. You must embrace this world. You must embrace yourself. You must embrace the sounds of who you are. You must transform all of that suffering sound into something that is empowering, enriching. You are wealth for this planet. The wealth is inside of you. Do you see the sounds that I'm using just to express this conversation? I had this discovery, and you start to realize that once you've had these profound epiphanies that have actually broken you down, the deja vu that I've lived this life before, oh my God, I can't tolerate that. The realization of how truly old your soul is, man, that took me months to digest that one. Because it's not a thought. It's not a flat sheet of paper like, okay, old soul, young soul. No, it's the deepest bucket you could possibly imagine diving into. And it becomes part of your blood, becomes part of your bones. It freaks out your ego, freaks out your whole body, and you can't digest that. Infinite time is hard to digest for a finite consciousness. Although in a journey, I was encouraged to stop defining my brain as a finite consciousness, as an infinite consciousness, and my brain is able to tolerate infinite understandings. We have to evolve into defining our brain as able to tolerate infinite understandings, that is a brainwash mechanism. And if we continue to exist in a reality where we are finite and we can't comprehend it, or it is too much for us, and we have a long time before we are going to evolve into a brain that can infinitely tolerate infinite information, we need to take that step. So I'll correct myself and say this is an infinite brain, and I'm giving it more permission to be infinitely tolerable of conceiving inconceivable information. So I'm still open to that. I think my guides are giving me also an answer, because you do this enlightenment journey and you'll find yourself circulating back around to being human is the one thing I came here to be. So I could journey and I can receive and I can explore and have all these adventures, but eventually you'll find the greatest adventure is just being yourself, being in a human life. And no matter how badly you want it to be better than this, the way that it is the best way it could possibly ever be. And that too is part of an enlightenment journey, is trying to figure out how that's possible, but embracing that. So it's a bit of a surprise. The human being awakens to the possibilities, goes on adventure through all these possibilities, has mind-blowing experiences, intolerable experiences, finds a way to tolerate it and continue to grow, only to find themselves back at being human and seeing themselves as a human being, embracing a human life in a way they weren't able to until they took that enlightenment journey. I just felt like saying that. So that's everything I have for today. I hope you're all doing well. If you found this video useful, helpful, please share. There's going to be a lot more content coming. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. I would love to have you as part of my YouTube family. I want to thank everybody who is a subscriber, whether you've just subscribed or you've been subscribed for a while. I really appreciate your company. It's really nice to be a part of a world with so many amazing people in it. So thank you for being amazing in this world and doing what you feel called to do in your heart, to find your own enlightenment, find your path, and to try to be courageous enough to be yourself. If any of you are interested in exploring a session with me, please visit my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. Have an amazing day, everybody.